Ever since I was a little kid, I have absolutely loved horror movies. I have watched as many as I could over the years, some great, some bad, some big budget, some look like they have a budget of about 38 cents. And this year was no different, as every October for the last few years, I have tried to sit down and watch at least one horror movie every single night in sort of a horror movie marathon in honor of course, Halloween at the end of October. And again, this year, no different at all. So this past October, I watched a horror movie every night, and I have 32 movies actually to rank today, because a couple of the movies maybe were sort of semi-false advertised, not as horror as I would have liked. So I included a bonus movie on top of it. I tried to watch only movies that were released in 2025. Hopefully I didn't miss anything there. And we are here to rank them from worst to best. So today we are going through 32 different movies, from the ones that I could not stand to some better ones, to some actually pretty good ones. Let's not even waste time and let's get right into it, starting with the absolute worst of the worst, number 32.
Give me a call when you can. It's pretty bad. Yeah.
Number 32, Scurry.
What happened to you?
Have you ever watched a movie thinking, hey, this actually might be pretty good, and then it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse for like an hour and a half straight? Yeah, that's Scurry. It starts off pretty promising. The first few minutes here are kind of cool. It seems like it might be kind of nice with the set pieces and the effects and the creepy atmosphere, and it just, yeah, man, it gets rough. It gets really rough, and it just doesn't get better. There is a sense of some claustrophobia here, I guess, if you're kind of into that kind of thing. It just drags and drags and drags, and the pacing is just kind of all over the place, but yet nothing really happens at the same time. You're just kind of watching people wander around in what feels like somebody's like basement, where they had like 8 feet of a set to work with, and they just keep going through the same 8 feet over and over again. The creatures here are boring. The characters are even more hateable than the creatures, and the horror tension, it exists more in theory rather than on the screen itself. The first 3 minutes and the last 3 minutes here are pretty good, as funny as that sounds, but my God, like, this movie is just awful, if I'm being honest with you. By the time it was halfway done, like, I was just so ready for it to be over, or for my internet to cut out, or for myself to just die or something, just so I didn't have to watch it anymore. It was that bad, and the whole thing felt like just filler and just dragging on and on and on. I can't say it's the worst movie I've ever seen, but I'm gonna be honest with you, it's close, and there's way more of a feeling of being bored here than any sense of being scared or a horror movie thrill in any kind of way. So just maybe stay away from Scurry.
What the hell was that?
Number 31, Robin.
Where did you get this?
I made.
Oh man, where do you start with Robin? I might use the word Temu a lot in this video. This is about as Temu Child's Play as you can get. This is one of those movies where I had to rewind it like 45 times as I was watching it because I was so bored and taken out of it that I didn't pay attention well enough to even realize what was happening. I kept having to rewind it so that way I could actually catch what was going on. The movie follows a dude who reconnects with a wealthy relative, and that relative has a kid. Again, I'm not trying to do any spoilers here, but there's a plot twist, and the plot twist is okay, I guess, but the rest of the movie is just predictable. The deaths in this movie are so awful. They're like the kind of deaths in a horror movie where they just cut away from most things rather than actually showing much. The characters are boring. It's not memorable. I watched this movie not long ago and I don't even remember most of it. It's just a boring movie. There's really not much else to say. It's the kind of bad that's just not even fun. There's some movies in this list coming up that are bad, but at least they're kind of fun because they're so bad. Robin is not one of those movies at all. Just boring. Temu Child's Play. That's really all there is to say about this.
Wakey, wakey. Peekaboo.
How did you get down there?
I'm Peter. It's nice to meet you.
Number 30, Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare.
Goes to Neverland, and he must act now to take the children with him.
It's time to collect.
Oh boy. Where do you start with Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare? It's basically like if you took Peter Pan, Tinkerbell, Wendy, all that, and turned it into a fever dream B-movie nightmare that basically takes place in a kidnapper's trap house. If that sounds fun for you, then go ahead. I will say this, the one good thing about this movie is that I did like the aesthetic, and it had almost like this like dreamlike feeling. But outside of that, it was just uncomfortable, and not in like a fun way. I definitely like movies that make me feel uncomfortable, but this just wasn't very good. Again, aesthetically, I thought this movie was actually quite good. But as far as like the character development, the plot, the things that take place, it was just pretty boring for as nice as it looked. And it did look pretty nice. But like I said, this is basically just a fever dream B-movie nightmare. I guess I'm not mad that I watched it, but if I could go back in time and get that hour and a half of my life back, I probably would. I don't know. It wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen just because of the way it looked, but again, not very good. So it is what it is. Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. Enjoy it if you wish, I guess.
Marco.
Hello.
Number 29,
같이 한번 해볼래?
The Ghost Game.
기호가 이거 하고 싶다고 애들 모으는데 우리가 같이 하면 좋을 것 같아서.
그 우리 찌끄러운 거 있잖아. 유튜브 공모전. 이게 구독자한테 링크를 받은 건데 예지를 해주는 강령.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. I may be more harsh on the Ghost Game than it actually deserves. I found it to be so boring that I really started zoning out a lot of the movie, and I really wasn't immersed at all. Obviously, I'm not a native speaker to the language that this is in, which is Korean. So to me, like, it felt like the acting was good. Like, you know, if something's in English, like, it's a bit more obvious if acting is bad. So like, I don't have any complaints with the acting or the general like special effects or the aesthetic of the movie or anything like that. But everything takes place, I don't think this is spoilery, everything takes place in like one room basically, and it seems like the same events just keep happening over and over again. And so for me, I kind of like fell out of it as I was watching it and just didn't ever become immersed in what I was watching. So I feel like I got struck with an overwhelming sense of boredom, and maybe this is one that I should rewatch and really give a solid go, because again, like it just lost my attention. But is it my fault that I lost attention in the movie if it just starts out so boring? And by starting out, I mean like at least the first 30-40 minutes. It's just boring. Like there's really not much else for me to say. It wasn't really my thing. It was pretty cliche, you know, summoning demon type things. I don't know, man. Like, just wasn't very good.
뭐야?
Number 28, Good Boy. Honestly, I think Good Boy was probably the biggest letdown of the year for me. I was really looking forward to this movie. I thought it was a super interesting concept, and it is. The whole movie basically takes place from the perspective of a dog, but it ended up just being really boring. Again, a lot of these movies early on are just boring. You know, they're the worst for a reason. Good Boy was a super big letdown for me. The inevitable creature, ghost, monster thing, again, I'm not trying to spoil anything, was boring. The plot feels like it never moves. The ending wasn't satisfying. It felt like it was trying to build up the whole entire movie, and it just never did. It was just one big long build-up in like the softest way imaginable. Obviously, the best part of this movie is the dog, and the dog was absolutely fantastic. Also, I discovered the website doesthedogdie.com just because of this movie, so check that website out. It is interesting. If you're into dogs and you want to watch the movie just for the dog, then go ahead. But if you want a good horror movie or just a good movie in general, skip Good Boy. Super big letdown for me.
The Jolly Monkey. Can I get you a room for tonight?
Yeah, just the one.
Hey, Carolyn, bring me the camera. Say monkey.
Monkey.
Number 27, The Jolly Monkey.
You are not kidding about this place.
What did you expect? We're all grieving your mother's loss.
Could be a fun project to get this place back up and running.
I want to demolish it, sell it, be done with it.
Don't you think we should at least...
All right, remember how I told you that some of these movies are going to be higher rated because they're so bad that they're actually fun? That's The Jolly Monkey. This is legitimately comically bad. This might objectively be the actual worst movie on the list, but it was so bad that at least it was funny. The acting was so bad. I had to watch this one actually with a couple friends, and it was just hilariously funny how bad the acting was. We were just joking around that like it felt like they literally pulled random people off the street, or it was just like the director's kids or friends or something that just really wanted to be in a movie. It's just awful. I will give this movie one thing. The plot twist was pretty unique. I don't ever recall seeing a plot twist quite like the Jolly Monkey had. So that was pretty creative, sort of, at least. But my goodness, This was bad, and I can't even begin to tell you how bad the acting was. Honestly, this might be the first movie I say in this list, go watch it. Like, genuinely go watch it, because the acting is so bad that it's just a comedy movie. Just check it out. Like, you almost have to at least skim through it and just check out some of the acting. It's pretty funny, but as a horror movie, no, absolutely not.
What the hell was that? Hey, little buddy, how'd you get in there?
Dad, there's someone in the garden.
Imogen, stay here. Friend of yours?
Hello. We're here for the party. And look, we bought presents.
Number 26, Everyone is Going to Die.
Happy birthday, dear Imogen. Let's start.
All right, so first of all, if you've seen this movie already, what the hell was that ending? This movie is rated higher than some of the other ones because I love home invasion so much. I think it's a great genre of horror. I do feel like this movie is just, it's trying to be weird. It's like it's weird for the sake of being weird. It's trying too hard, I should say, to make some social statement on trauma. It was intriguing enough throughout the majority of it that I was watching attentively, I guess, but it felt more like an excuse for the writer or director or whoever to make a pervy movie rather than make a point or a good movie. There's weird plot holes when you take the confusing end into consideration. In general, I thought it was entertaining enough because it does keep you at least somewhat on edge as a movie, but just a very odd ending, very odd undertones, very odd, like I said, statements trying to be made here. And I guess I get the gist of what they were going for, but something just felt a little off here. It was okay at best, wasn't awful, but I don't understand what they were thinking here with some of the choices along the way.
Drink.
She's scared to death.
What, and you're not?
Welcome back! We've got new contestants. Let's give them a big round of applause, shall we? What's going on?
Number 25, Your Host.
Take a box, pull a string, win a prize. You said if I win, I get to go home. If you pull the right string. What if I pull the wrong string? Thanks for playing, Jake. No. Please, you promise. And we'll see you next time.
You guessed exactly what I would say, I'm sure. I'm going back to the word. This is Temu Saw. It was interesting enough. It had an interesting twist for motivation. Ultimately, it felt like a low-budget Saw with kind of a, well, not even kind of, a big game show twist, and it was fine. Nothing really stood out here. I actually really love these kinds of movies, so I had some high hopes for this one, and it was ultimately a letdown. The deaths were pretty boring. The main antagonist actor was not very great. It felt pretty forced. I don't know. It was fine. We're starting to get into the not awful movies range, and like they're at least fine from here. And this is definitely one of them. I'm not mad that I watched this. If you're into the Saw stuff and you don't really have anything better to watch, like give it a twirl, I guess, but ultimately you'll probably be at least a little bit let down.
This might be my favorite game. Rock, paper, scissors.
My name is William. I'm the owner of this car.
What do you want?
Thou shalt not steal. That's not complicated, is it?
Did you just tase me?
I want you to experience the consequences of your actions.
Number 24, Locked.
Help me!
Do I have your attention now?
All right, so Locked. You would agree with me that after watching at least the part of this trailer here, that this is sort of advertised as a horror or a thriller, at least something along those lines. This is one of those movies that I talked about at the beginning of the video, where this is why I have a 30-second bonus movie. There's a couple of those throughout this list. It's a good movie. I don't have any necessary complaints. Well, I do, and I'll get to those. But this was not exactly a horror or thriller setting or vibe for me. It was a solid movie. It was pretty entertaining. The acting was good. The premise was really cool, but sometimes it just kind of dragged along, and that's really what brought it down for me, on top of the fact that it wasn't horror or thriller enough. The ending was quite satisfying, and I did enjoy it for the most part. It's just, I wish it didn't drag, and I wish that if it had a trailer that seemed so horror-ish or thriller-ish, that it would have been a little bit more sort of leaning into those categories and feelings than it did. But it was decently fun. Again, we're at that part of that list where we're at the at least pretty good movies area, and I would say that this movie was pretty good. But if you're looking for a horror movie in itself, then Locked is probably not the one that you're looking for.
You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. You'd be like heaven to touch.
Number 23, Hard Eyes. All right, here we go again with another one that isn't quite horror enough for me. Don't get me wrong, there is a slasher movie here, but I would argue that it leans more into the rom-com than the slasher. It was a pretty decent movie. It was purposefully, at least I think and hope it was, very corny. It definitely leaned harder into the rom-com, like I said, than the horror, but it was still a slasher at the end of the day, I suppose. It just wasn't very great at being one. It was a pretty good movie. It just wasn't a great horror movie. There's not a lot else to say here. I guess the special effects, the deaths and stuff like that were pretty good, pretty cool. And like I said, it was a decent rom-com slasher, but it just wasn't hitting the horror part. And as I said, I hope that it was purposefully corny, because it was definitely corny, and it seemed to not take itself that serious. So I'm gonna assume it was on purpose.
Saw how clean this place was coming in? Yes, sir. Your job is to keep it that way.
And no fourth floor, darling. Those patients need special care. Off limits to you.
Number 22, The Home.
These are good people. They deserve comfort in their twilight years.
Here to get your garbage.
You know, you've got interesting eyes.
All right, so The Home, I'm gonna get this out of the way first thing, because I'm sure a lot of people are wondering or thinking the same thing. No, Pete Davidson was not very good in this movie. He seemed out of place to me. The plot was honestly pretty interesting. The plot twist was quite interesting. It seemed to be a little bit going for sort of a scary for the sake of being scary. It wasted some time with meaningless scenes, kind of took a little bit to get going. There was like a cool death scene, but honestly, the plot and the plot twist here kind of carry this one, because as you might imagine, the acting wasn't so great from Pete Davidson here, but honestly, not a terrible movie. It was pretty all right. It held my attention.
Sometimes, when things are bad on the outside, we have to look on the inside.
So we'll start. Mom?
Number 21, Strange Harvest. All right, so Strange Harvest is a documentary style horror movie. It was pretty interesting enough. I thought it was going to cook up a bit more, and there were some moments that it definitely did. There was some very graphic images and videos of crime scenes and whatnot. Overall, the story is just a pretty interesting story about a serial killer. I wouldn't say it's a must watch, but I wasn't angry about seeing it. There is a little bit of a twist of something in there that I'm not going to spoil here. Overall, it just kind of did its job at being a documentary style horror movie, which I'm not sure I'd really seen before, if I'm being honest with you. And it doesn't really go off the rails. It stays within itself, and it does a pretty good job. I wasn't, like I said, mad at this one. It's pretty good. Not like a must watch, but check it out if you're into the documentary style stuff.
He was right there.
What's it like?
What's what like?
I never had anybody die.
Scary.
Number 20, Presence.
And it goes on.
What do you mean?
Like, the world cracks apart.
So this one might be a bit of another minor letdown, just because conceptually, just like Good Boy, this was such a cool idea. Basically, the whole entire movie takes place from the actual perspective through the eyes of the ghost in the movie, which again is super unique as a concept. I'm not sure if there has been movies that have done this in the past, but I don't ever recall seeing any. It's not exactly scary, but it is a horror setting, and there's definitely an interesting plot that unfolds as the movie goes, with a decent twist at the end that I thought was not exactly expected, I guess. Maybe some people would see it coming. I didn't exactly see it coming, but overall, again, it's only a slight letdown because maybe I had set the expectations high that this would be almost a Paranormal Activity level horror with a different perspective, but instead it's almost more of a story than a horror movie, and that's the only reason it's further down the list. But it did hold my attention, and it was pretty good, so I was pretty happy with it overall.
You wonder where they are. And you wonder what it would be like if you were there too.
You stop, you die. You are hunted by the most dangerous animal on the planet. Humans.
Number 19, Silent Zone.
Scout?
Yeah. So the pack must be nearby.
All right, so Silent Zone was a surprise. This time in a good way. It is definitely going back to it, a Temu Last of Us feeling here. This is a Hungarian zombie movie, and it shows in the dialogue, and there's something kind of off about the lip syncing. Something kind of weird is going on. The lines in the dialogue in general is pretty hard to watch. There's nothing that this does that you haven't already seen from zombie movies. But all that being said, and as negative as all that sounds, it was still a solid little zombie movie. I was not upset again that I watched this. The movie poster font here makes it look like the movie's name is Silent Zode. Maybe that's just me, but it's kind of weird. But overall, again, this was a pleasant surprise. I thought this was quite good for just another zombie movie. And if you like zombie movies, this one's definitely worth checking out if you've kind of seen everything else. I definitely enjoyed it way more than I thought I would.
Can I help you? I don't know where Ma'am, do you want to come in? Get out of the cold? I'm sorry.
Number 18,
So late.
Vicious.
Do you have your phone? I can call for you. This house, it's a lot for a young woman. I'm gonna start. What? This will be for you now. You are going to die tonight. What are you talking about? Unless you give it what it wants.
So Vicious was a pretty standard horror movie experience. It's a pretty good premise with a good atmosphere, decent scares. The ending was interesting enough. The plot as it moves along keeps you invested. The acting was good. Just overall, it's a pretty good horror movie. It is basic and standard, but it stays in its lane for what it is, and it does a good job at it. There's nothing here that's inherently wrong or anything that's particularly great. It just does a good job at being a horror movie. If you're just looking for a random horror movie to watch and you just want to watch something that you expect from a horror movie experience in a traditional sense, this is a good one to watch, and I recommend it at least somewhat. It was pretty good.
Nightmare, but I didn't wake up. You won't wake up.
Number 17, Night of the Reaper.
This showed up on my porch this morning addressed to you.
Night of the Reaper.
It's so great.
All right, so Night of the Reaper gets kind of a back-to-back nomination for best and worst, and that's kind of why it's right here in the middle. It has been the year of the creative plot twists, and this movie is a massive part of that. Outside of the plot twist, however, just like Vicious, it is a very standard slasher horror movie experience. It does hit you with something with the plot twist, kind of like the Jolly Monkey, believe it or not, that I haven't really seen before in a horror movie. Not saying that it hasn't happened, but it was a really neat twist. The movie itself was fine, nothing too out of the ordinary aside from the twist, and some of the acting was a bit rough. But it was also, some of it was pretty good too. Overall, it had a nice old school slasher vibe to it that I enjoyed, and I thought it was pretty good. I feel like that it works well here in the middle.
Night of the Reaper, huh? Kinda catchy.
Nanti kamu jangan jutek-juteknya sama Karina.
Gimana tadi di jalan? Pada lapar nggak?
Bapak udah nggak ubanan kan? Ini jamu baru. Jamu awet muda.
Number 16, The Elixir.
Jadi bawa-bawa gue. Cuma mau ngamarin warisan Bapak kan? Pak! Mas?
So we're at that point in the video where there's not a lot to make fun of, but there's also not a ton to really compliment either. We're in that middle range. So there's not a lot to say about this. It's a zombie movie. It's rated higher than Silent Zode because it's just less corny. It does a better job. It's done pretty well. The special effects are good. The gore is there. The characters were fine. Obviously, as someone who doesn't speak the language, by the way, this movie is Indonesian. As somebody who doesn't speak Indonesian, I can't pick up on cadences being cheesy or line deliveries or whatever else. I'm reading subtitles here. So the acting seemed really solid too. The setting is a little on the boring side as the movie takes place in what seems like just a small village the whole time. But there's still a decent amount of zombies, with that being said. Overall, if you like zombie movies, I think this is a pretty good one. And again, I'm just kind of into zombie movies, I always have been, so this was a pretty good movie. Not a lot to say, either good or bad here.
That's odd. I don't remember locking this.
You wouldn't happen to remember if my aunt had a wind-up toy monkey at the yard sale?
Oh, not a cherished childhood memory now, was it?
No.
Number 15, The Monkey.
The coroner said it was an accident, but it was no accident. It was a monkey.
So not to be confused with the Jolly Monkey, the monkey is actually a pretty good, fun, gore and death style, almost has a Final Destination vibe to it with the crazy deaths and such like that. The plot in general is kind of weird, obviously, that goes without saying, but this just feels quality, if I'm being honest, like even if it's kind of stupid. It's not something I'd say everyone needs to watch, but if you're into gory scenes and clever deaths, again, some things like Final Destination, then this one should definitely be on your list. This is more fun and out there and weird than just straight horror.
To witness its power over life and death in its most devious ways.
異変を見逃さないこと。異変を見つけたらすぐに引き返すこと。
こっちじゃない。
異変が見つからなかったら引き返さないこと。
Number 14, Exit 8.
外に出ること。
おじさん。おじさん。おじさん。大丈夫。おじさん。おじさん。おじさん。大丈夫。おじさん。おじさん。
おじさん。おじさん。
大丈夫。
So Exit 8 is a Japanese movie that almost does a better job at being an experience than an actual movie. It's a pretty interesting twist. It does a good job at being uncomfortable enough horror-wise, but what I mean is that it's really engaging and almost feels interactive. The plot is basically inviting you to play along with it. You really got to watch this one in order to understand what I'm talking about. If that sounds even somewhat interesting to you, then this is the first movie aside from Jolly Monkey that I legitimately mean you should watch. It's very different in that way. The sound design's simplicity is very impactful. It's just a really solid movie. There's nothing to really complain about, but there's not anything that I'd really say that everyone has to see. Also, I just learned recently, apparently, that this was originally a video game, which I had never heard of or played, so maybe you have. Who knows? But yeah, check it out if that sounds interesting.
る？
私もう死んでる。もう人間じゃない。
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and ghouls, I'm your host, DJ Jack, and I'll be your guide through the spine-tingling lineup for you tonight.
Number 13, The Jester 2. All right, hold up a sec. Before we get going on Jester 2, if you've seen The Jester 1, I have to ask, first and foremost, why did they do this to the way his character looks? The Jester 1, in my opinion, he looks quite cool. And then...
No.
Why did they do that? Let's continue. And as the girl says in the trailer...
Why do you look like that?
We're going trick-or-treating.
Don't you think you're getting a little bit old? Look, why don't you just watch some scary movies or something, okay?
You're the quiet girl who always sat by herself.
Max.
Oh, I know this. Don't you see? You tricked me.
All right, on the real, as I'm sure you read there in the trailer, maybe, this is from the studio that brought us Terrifier, and I absolutely love Terrifier, so I had high hopes for these movies. Just like Terrifier, they're not really there for the plot, although it is interesting enough. I did like the second one better than I liked the first one, other than his appearance. It is an interesting enough plot. It's just a fun movie. The gore isn't there quite like it is in Terrifier. The deaths aren't as creative, but it does have a good Halloween feeling to it. It does hit that horror Halloween movie feeling. Again, the costume of the Jester was just severely downgraded here from the first, but it's just a stupid, fun movie. Also, his voice is terrible, but I actually really liked the main character. I thought she was good, and they're just decently fun movies. So if you're into Terrifier and you want a way worse version of Terrifier, then this one's for you.
It is you who must perform the tricks to the Emperor.
You can't do this without me.
This is what I wanted to show you. Isn't it cool?
Yeah, it is really cool. Where'd you get it from?
I'm OG Kettle Springs, baby. I got all kinds of stuff.
Does it work?
Try it.
Look out!
Number 12, Clown in a Cornfield.
Big on tradition around here.
Every year, there's this parade where everyone gathers around a Friendo float.
Friendo?
It's the clown on all the Bay Pen corn syrup labels. He's practically a local legend.
All right, so Clown in a Cornfield was just a kind of a fun movie. It's from the director who made Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, and if you guys haven't seen that movie, please watch it. It is one of my all-time favorite comedy horror movies, like right behind Shaun of the Dead or something. It's just, you could kind of see some ties in with this from the director. It gets a bit zany, gets a bit wild. It's pretty stupid, but it's just really fun. It is corny, but again, undeniably fun. There's some decent twists along the way. There's a lot of cornball acting, especially out of this guy right here, Timu Elon Musk looking fella. The lines and the characters and all that can be kind of corny, but I think it's on purpose, if I had to assume, again. But it was just legitimately a fun movie, and I would recommend it, even though the ending was pretty terrible. But yeah, give it a twirl. It was pretty good.
I'm looking for my sister. Does she look familiar to you?
She's gone missing.
I didn't say that. Do a lot of people go missing around here?
Number 11, Until Dawn.
Road. That's why people get into trouble.
Those are the first people here in years.
Looks like it too.
Weird.
All right, so as many of you probably do know, this was a video game first, and this is the movie adaptation of said game. I have never played the game before, so I went in this completely blind. I did Google to know if I should avoid watching the movie, if it was kind of a spoiler for the game, just in case I ever played it or something. Turns out it's kind of the same universe, separate story situation from my understanding. All that being said, this movie was pretty fun. The twist for me along the way, as many of you played the game, I assume you know how this goes. I did not going into it, but it felt unique and creative conceptually. The characters were pretty hateable, but the deaths were really solid, and there are a lot of them. So if you're into solid deaths in horror movies in mass quantity, this is definitely up your alley. The effects were good. The acting was fine. It kind of dragged near the end. The ending itself wasn't the most satisfying thing to ever happen, but what's here is fun, and it was a pretty good movie.
How many more deaths do you have in you?
Nobody's made it past 13 nights.
If we want to survive, we have to make it until dawn.
I love you.
Number 10, Together.
What's going on?
I don't know. Since the move, Tim and I haven't been on the same page.
Please. Do you love each other?
Maybe we're just complacent.
We have made it to the top 10, and getting us started at number 10 is Together. I would say now into the top 10, these were the good movies for 2025. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that in general these are great movies. You know, my top 3 even might not compare to my 2024 or 2019 list, right? I'm just saying, like, in general, it doesn't mean that these are the greatest movies of all time, but for 2025's sake, we are into the top 10. So let's talk about Together. This is more of a drama between a couple going through stuff than horror most of the time, but there is a good twist here. There's a good explanation, I think, for kind of what's going on. It kept me engaged despite me not liking drama movies all that much. It says something about it, I think, and the acting was really good here. I think this is the first movie that I've said that about. I think the acting was pretty fantastic here. Body horror was present, but not insane. So if you're kind of put off by body horror, I know that's the whole shtick of this movie, but it wasn't super unnaturally horrible. Overall, this was a good, solid movie. And again, if you're into drama and body horror, I guess this is kind of up your alley.
Well, you know, complacency can sometimes simply be harmony.
Come on, Sheriff. We all want to hear about who killed that young couple.
Why are you doing this to us?
Because you're here.
Number 9, The Strangers, Chapter 2.
I knew you wouldn't leave me.
All right, I want to get something out of the way and make something very, very clear. I said earlier when we talked about everyone is going to die, or everybody is going to die, that I love home invasion movies, right? One of those examples is the original The Strangers movie. Absolutely one of my favorites. I love that movie. I think it's so good. When they remade it, The Strangers Chapter 1, I thought it was so bad. Like, genuinely one of the worst remakes, one of the worst horror movies, just overall, all around, terrible. So when The Strangers Chapter 2 came out, I thought I would watch it just for fun, throw it at the bottom of the list somewhere, maybe one higher than Scurry, and call it a day because I figured it was just going to be awful. So, all that being said, it is number 9. This was very, very shockingly, surprisingly good. I got right into it. It was high energy and fun. It got right into it even. It had some stupid, typical horror moments, but it was just a good time. I think this might be the biggest surprise on the list just because I had such low expectations in general. Of any movie I watched, I think this was the biggest surprise. I expected to absolutely hate this movie to death. And instead, I came away saying, because I watched it with one of my friends who I watched the first one with, and we both hated the first one. And we both came away saying, that was good. Like, we didn't want to admit it at first, I feel like, but we ultimately came to the agreement that it was pretty good. So good job bouncing back here in Strangers Chapter 2. If you saw the first one and you hated it, watch the second one. Give it a chance. You might like it more, especially, again, as somebody who loved the original. This one was pretty good, and I was quite happy with it.
Don't touch anything. Everything you see in here is either haunted, cursed, or been used in some sort of ritualistic practice. Nothing's a toy. Not even the toys.
Number 8, The Conjuring: Last Rites.
How many cases you guys had?
Cases?
My name is Ed Warren, here with my wife Lorraine.
Maybe 1,000.
Every case is different. Every family's different.
Once we start, there's no going back. Anything can happen.
So I'm not gonna lie to you, this is kind of a boring pick. Everybody knows The Conjuring. Everybody probably saw Last Rites. This is just more Conjuring. If you like the Conjuring universe, obviously you're gonna see this and you're gonna like it. I did think it was maybe the worst of the main movies, but it was still exactly what you expect, exactly what you get out of Conjuring movies. That is a good thing to me, hence why it is at number 8. But there's just not really a ton to say here. It was solid. Again, probably the worst of the main movies, but it was still Conjuring and I still enjoyed it. So not a lot to say here about Conjuring: Last Rites, just more Conjuring.
Drinks all around.
Number 7, Final Destination: Bloodlines.
Pick the one you get. Just gotta love the one you got.
I always knew this day would come.
I got it.
I don't think you got it.
I held him off for years.
Charlie, get up here.
He's a relentless son of a bitch.
won't stop till he finishes the job. Death is coming for our family.
All right, so kind of like The Conjuring, this is just more Final Destination with a twist. There is a good, interesting, unique twist here for the Final Destination movies, and it was pretty good, honestly. The opening death scene thing that the Final Destination movies usually do was pretty cool. The time skip scenario stuff was pretty cool. The deaths continue to be at the very least decently clever and unique, much like the rest of Final Destination. It's more of the same here, and I did love the originals. It has a special place in my heart. I used to watch them with my mom. We loved those movies when I was a kid. So if you like Final Destination, this is more of the same, but there is a twist here, and I think it was worth watching. It was a pretty solid Final Destination movie.
It will show you everything you need to know to keep our family safe.
It all started with Grandma. Death is coming for us because we were never supposed to exist.
Watch out!
Only by embracing death will it pass you by.
There have been two moments in my life when I was happiest. The first was the day I met Josh.
I'm Josh.
I'm Iris. And the second, the day I killed him.
Number 6, Companion.
Remember to smile and act happy. Do they know?
Iris, wake up.
What are you doing? Shut her down already.
What is she talking about, Josh?
All right, so Companion is not so much horror as it is just kind of semi-thriller AI thing. It's not an original idea with the whole AI robot thing. There is a twist to that concept though, and I do think it's fun. It's an interesting take. There's a pretty good underlying story here. It was pretty fun throughout and just solid. Like, I just put this on as thinking, it's just like a throwaway movie, you know. Again, like I need something to watch tonight, so I just picked it. The website that I was watching it on didn't exactly have high ratings for it, and I just threw it on, and I was impressed. It kept my attention. It was good. Again, it was pretty clever in a sense. This kind of takes place from the perspective of the other side of the AI, kind of. But it was just good, and I actually recommend this one if you're into the whole AI and robot concept. This is definitely a good thriller version of whatever that is. So, pretty good movie. I enjoyed it.
I didn't mean to.
Did you jailbreak your sex bot?
Wow, Josh.
Personally, I can't stop thinking about all that money.
You'll never find another like me. I'm the last of my kind.
First warning.
Okay, just keep walking. That's right. Just keep walking.
Yeah, that's it, kid. That's it.
Second warning.
Third warning.
Number 5, The Long Walk.
It takes heavy sack to sign up for this contest. I'm not gonna go through the whole rule book, but it boils down to this. If you fall below the speed of 3 miles per hour, you get your ticket. Walk until there's only one of you left. Who's ready to win?
Into the top 5, and we are at The Long Walk. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I took a bit of time thinking about whether or not I should even have this movie in the list. It's one of the movies where I decided I needed to put a bonus movie in because this was not, as the trailer advertised it to be, a horror type movie. I wouldn't even really say it was much of a thriller. It was just an interesting plot. So I find it odd to have it in the list, and for a while it was at my number 1 before I watched some of the others and all that, and it just felt odd. It felt strange to have this so high in my horror movie list, but it was so good that I had to put it in here high regardless of the reason, of the genre, sorry. The acting was fantastic. The idea of just walking is somehow crazy entertaining here. The deaths are visceral. The ending could have been more satisfying. It could have been better, but it was still fine. It was just genuinely a really, really good movie, and I almost feel like I'm cheating having it in here, but I think some people maybe would view this as a horror thriller in some kind of way, and it was advertised as such, so it is in this list because it was that good. Absolutely watch The Long Walk.
This is walk or die. You'll walk as long as you can.
Warning!
But sometimes the body won't listen.
Warning!
For some, your heart will stop.
Warning!
For others, your brain.
Warning!
And the blood will flow suddenly.
Warning!
This is a true story that happened in my town. So this one Wednesday is like a normal day for the whole school. But today was different. Every other class had all their kids. But Mrs. Gandy's room was totally empty. And you know why? Because the night before, at 2:17 in the morning, every kid woke up, got out of bed, walked downstairs, and into the dark. And they never came back.
Number 4, weapons.
I don't understand at all. Why just her classroom? Why only hers?
Where are our children?
We have a lot of emotional parents here. I think it's best if you keep some distance from this place.
So this one was maybe a little too hyped up through its marketing campaign or social media or what have you. A lot of people talking about how, oh my goodness, this is the greatest horror movie in years and years. I wouldn't go that far, but it was a very good movie. I maybe was a bit harsher on it at first than I should have been because of that reason, but overall, again, like I said, it was a really solid movie. It wasn't really scary horror, but it was very interesting, slightly unsettling, I guess, for its story and the series of events that transpire. But it was just a good movie. If you're into, this is from the creators of Barbarian. This is like weird twists and turns along the way and that kind of thing. And I don't know, it was just a good movie. It's just a horror movie with a little bit of an out of the ordinary take on what's going on. And so for that, I give it points as well, which I did expect maybe a bit more of a wacky twist considering Barbarian, or I thought maybe it would kind of take like a Tusk turn or something. But instead what we got was a little more straightforward than those, but it was still really solid. I did enjoy this movie and I recommend it for sure.
Matthew, where are you? Where did you go?
Wait, sit here. Sit. Auntie, what's going on? Jimmy, sit still, keep quiet, and do not move from this spot.
Number 3, 28 years later.
7, 6, 11, 5, 9 and 20 miles today, 4, 11, 17, 32 the day before. Boot, 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 moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war.
We have made it to the top 3, and checking in at number 3 is 28 Years Later. Unlike Final Destination or The Conjuring, this felt similar, but not more of the same like the movies before it, at least in my opinion. The atmosphere was definitely thrilling. The music in this one, I don't know if I've ever said this before. I feel like the music and just the tone with the audio, I guess I kind of said something similar in Exit 8, but not exactly. It carried this movie in some ways. It was the best part of the horror aspect was the music. It really added some serious edge here. And I will give you guys a bit more of a snippet of that when I'm done yapping here. But you felt intensity, and honestly, I chalk it all up to the music. That aside, it was still a really solid zombie movie. A very weird ending, you could say, at the very least. I'm looking forward to the next one. Very excited for part 2. I think it comes out in January of 26, maybe February. I don't remember. Regardless, great movie, and I'm excited to get into the top 2 here.
Don't look at what's in front of you. Boost, moving up and down again. Men go mad with watching them. There's no discharge in the war.
How did you cope with Kathy being gone?
I didn't.
Number 2, Bring Her Back.
This is their new sister and brother, Oliver. Oliver lost his family just like you guys. Needed someone that could keep in special care.
All right, I spent a ton of time deciding between these top 2 movies. I went back and forth a ton here, so I'm kind of splitting hairs. But Bring Her Back was a fantastic movie. There was great atmosphere here. The acting was phenomenal, in my opinion. Especially the creepy kid you guys are seeing in the trailer, fantastic child actor. The plot was pretty solid. It avoids jump scares mostly, and instead it's creepy because of the setting and the mood and the series of events that unfold. This is just a solid horror movie. There's nothing too crazy. It's conceptually stuff that you've probably seen or heard before, but it does it very, very, very well. And I strongly recommend this one if you're into sort of semi-demonic possession type things in a way. Definitely check this movie out. I really liked it, and like I said, it was number 1 for a bit, but ultimately, and we'll get into this, ultimately it got usurped by what ends up being my number 1. But Bring Her Back definitely was in the conversation.
It's like a little angel. It's a beautiful angel. It does beautiful things. Listen. 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 Wywaros mi Artosa. I'm ready, you must be here.
Number 1, Frey Waka.
Look. Her primary care on shot me.
You're aware the patient has mental health issues, dementia, paranoia, delusions.
I wasn't actually told that.
we have made it to number 1. And like I said, I really struggled picking between these two, but ultimately Frey Waka was the one. This movie was super unsettling. I said at the beginning of the video, I'm sure I've said multiple times along the way, I have been watching horror movies since I was a little kid. I consider myself heavily desensitized to being like scared from movies. I don't get frightened per se. And that's not like, oh, I'm cool, you know, look at me. It's just, you watch them enough, anybody, you watch them enough and, you know, you're desensitized. It's just human nature, I guess. But this movie, although not frightening and scary, was exceptionally unsettling. So for me, that is the biggest win I can get when it comes to horror. Maybe there's some personal experience here in dealing with someone with similar symptoms to a character here in the movie. I'm not sure, but the tone here is fantastic. I never felt comfortable watching this from start to finish. Again, not scared, just feeling off, like waiting because you know what's going on. Is it normal? And obviously that's the case in a lot of horror movies, but this definitely scratched an itch for me. The only complaint I really had was the ending, which leaves some stuff to the imagination. If you're into that, sort of up to interpretation and things like that, if you're into that, then you'll love it, I'm sure. I'm somebody who wants answers a lot of the time, although I did find myself thinking about the ending, and this movie stuck with me for a bit in a good way. So ultimately, Frey Waka, definitely check this one out. Just an unsettling, and you see in the trailer right there, they say unnerving. I completely agree with that sentiment. This was a very solid movie, and clearly my number 1 for the year. So there you guys have it, my list for the year. As I'm sure you guys know, this was not an easy video to make. This has taken me so long to edit. I've done it off and on between my kind of work schedule and other stuff coming up or whatever. We're on the 22nd of November as I'm recording this outro, and I apologize for the long video here, for the long delay in the upload time, but I am sure you understand this is the first kind of video like this I've ever made. If you guys enjoyed it, please consider liking, subscribing. I don't know if you guys have other ideas for videos I could make. If you stuck to the end, thank you so much. What was your favorite movie of 2025, your favorite horror movie? And if you have more ideas for videos you guys would like to see, please let me know, because I just find making YouTube videos fun. So I'd love to do more. And this was just an idea that I had. It just kind of came to me in the moment. But thank you guys so much for watching and making it to the end if you did. We're over an hour and 13 minutes here. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful day, night, morning, evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. I appreciate it. Leave some feedback below.